So go to your student controller.jsp program and go to your view student method. Come down, get student method. Come down to the get student method. Come down to the get student method. So now, as I already told before, if any error occurs now, it will go to my enroll.jsp page itself and I'll be displaying the errors. If there is no errors now, I'm going to randomly generate some ID and I'm going to set the ID and I'm going to store the student object into the repository. And finally, I'll redirect to a request called as. I'll redirect it to what request I'm going to redirect it.
/view student.
View student. So now it will come to the /view student and I'm going to return student info. So the student info.jsp, we are just displaying a student inserted. Successfully, and then we go to the database and I'll be checking whether the data is inserted or not actually. But instead of doing like this, once I insert it, I'll go to my student info.jsp page, and in the student info.jsp page, I am going to fetch all the data from the table, and I'm going to display in the form of a table. In the form of a tabular column. I'm going to display it. Okay. So before return student info, before that line, okay, before return student info. So can you guys say how I can able to retrieve all the value from the database? What method I have to use it?
Find all.
Find all method. Okay, I have to use a method called as what? Find all method in order to retrieve all the data from the database. Okay. Okay, so type list of student list is equal to list of student list is equal to list of student list is equal to. I'm going to call repo.findAll. Repo.findAll list is equal to repo.findAll. So I'm going to return all the student object. I'm going to return and I'm going to store into a list called as your list. Okay, I'm going to store into a okay. Sorry, it is I triple of student. Make it as I triple of student list is equal to repo.findAll. I triple of student. I triple of student list is equal to repo.findAll. Instead of list of student, make it as I triple of student. Anyone share your screen? Okay, so make it as I triple of student list is equal to repo.findAll. So now I'm going to fetch all the student information from the repository and I'm going to store into a list called as
Student.
I'm going to store into an ISO called as
List.
Okay. Now can you guys say how I can able to pass this information? Can you guys say how I can able to transfer some information from the controller program to the JSP program?
By the model map.
Model map. Yes. Okay. So under your get student, pass your model map as an argument. Model map. In the get student method, define model map as an argument. Model map. Now after that find all method, just give map.add attribute. Map.add attribute, and inside your bracket, I'm going to give my attribute name as student list. Double quotes student list, comma list. Student list, double quotes student list, comma list. Everything small letter. Student list, comma list. Everything small letter. No. That's it. Student list. After that, it was already there, comma list. So now, as I already told before, if there is no error, it will come to the else part. Now I'm going to store all the data into the database with the help of your same method. After that, I'm going to redirect to a request called as your /view student actually. Now it will come into this method, and inside this method, what we are going to do, I'm going to find all the data from the database, and I'm going to store into a list called as your list. And I want to transfer this list from the controller program to the JSP program. I'm using my model map.attribute of. I'm storing the list of object in the second argument like only list, no double quotes. Second argument no double quotes. Because already we have the list of information into an object called as a list object. I'm storing that list object into an attribute called as
list.
I'm storing that list into an attribute called as what?
Student list.
Storing into an attribute called as a student list. Right now, what my student list will be containing? It will be containing a collection of students that is present inside the database. It will be containing the collection of students that is present inside the database. Now I'm going to return which page?
Student info.json.
Sir, in mapping, I'm getting an error, sir. Map.add attribute. It asks you to create a local variable.
You have to pass argument to the get student method. See, you have selected something. Have you passed your argument?
Model map. So now
get student method, model map. You have passed down.
Yeah, now I'm getting.
Pass it. No error went up. Dashni?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I already told before, it goes to the else part. In the else part, we are storing the data into the database. After that, we are redirecting to a request called /view student. Inside the /view student, first we are going to retrieve all the data from the database, and I'm going to store into a list called as list actually. Now I want to pass this information from the controller program to the JSP program. I want to pass it. So I'm going to use my model map. So I call map.add attribute of. So the list which contains a list of student object, I'm going to store into an attribute called as
student list.
So right now, what my student list will be containing? It will be containing a collection of
student.
So now I'll return to which page?
Student info.
So everyone go to your student info.jsp. Everyone go to your student info.jsp. And in my student info.jsp, what I want to do, I want to display, so student info.jsp, now I want to get that student list. So the student list will be containing a list of
student object.
So now I want to display that list of student one by one in the form of
table.
Okay. So how I can able to display it now with the help of a tag called as your JSTL tag. With the help of a tag called as your JSTL tag actually. And obviously my JSP doesn't, my Tomcat doesn't understand what is the JSTL tag. Okay. It doesn't understand what is the JSTL tag. So we want to make my JSP to understand the JSTL tag. So for that purpose, everyone go to your chat window. I have given one line. Copy that line. Go to your chat window. Given one line. Given one line. Copy that line and paste after your before your doc type. Paste before your doc type. Paste before your doc type. Only the tag lib directive element. Remove other things. Oracle, Java, then all remove it. It should contain only the tag lib directive. URI is equal to http://java.sun.com/jsp/jstl/4 and prefix is equal to
C.
Yes. So as I already told before, we are passing a list of students from the controller program to the JSP program under your student list actually. Now from the student list, I want to take one information and I want to print in the form of a tablet column. How I can able to use it now? So for that purpose, you are going to use a tag called as your JSTL tag. Okay, we have to use a tag called as your JSTL tag. And are we provided the dependency for JSTL?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
have already provided the dependency for JSTL. We have already provided actually. So now with the help of this JSTL tag only, I can able to print the information one by one. But my Tomcat doesn't understand what is
JSTL.
JSTL. So for, if I want to use any JSTL now, then compulsory how to configure which one we have to configure. If I want to use any JSTL now, we have to configure what we have to configure.
Incorporation of the dependency.
But listen carefully. I want to use JSTL. If I want to use JSTL now, then what I have to configure in my JSP program?
Tagleaf, sir.
Tagleaf. Okay, we have to configure your Tagleaf directive element. And what is the Tagleaf we have provided? URI is equal to http://java.sun.com/JSP/JSTL and prefix is equal to what?
C.
So all your JSTL tags will be starting by what prefix?
C.
C prefix. Okay, it is going to start by what prefix? C prefix actually. Here are guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now in the title, like, give it a student list. Give it a student list. The title, like, give it a student list. Okay. And as I already told before, in this student info.jsp page, I am going to display all the student in the form of
Table.
So I want to make the table to be look and feel actually. So for that purpose, what concept we have to use?
Bootstrap.
Bootstrap concept. And if I'm going to use Bootstrap now, compulsory we have to use what tag we have to add it? In enroll.jsp we have added one tag. Now what tag we have added?
Tagleaf.
Link tag.
Link.
So copy that link tag and paste in this program also. Copy that link tag. Only link tag. Only link tag. Copy that link tag and paste after the meta tag. Copy that link tag and paste after the meta tag in this program also. Copy the link tag and paste after the meta tag in this program. So as I already told before, if there is no errors now, what we are going to do, we are going to insert the data into the database. After inserting into the data into the databases, we are redirecting to a request called /viewStudent. So it will go to the /viewStudent request. In that way, we are going to get all the student information with the help of what? We are going to get all the student information with the help of what?
Expression language.
All the student information with the help of what method we are going to get it?
Model attribute.
Model.
Listen, guys, I'm going to get all the student information from the database using which method?
Model.
Now from the database, how to get it?
Okay, find out.
Find all method. Please listen to the question properly, guys. I'm asking how you will be getting the data from the database. How you are getting the data from the database?
Find all method.
Help of a method called as your find all method, and we are returning the and a list of all the student information and going to store into an object called as
Student list.
first time the way we are storing.
List object.
List object. Okay, we are going to store inside your list object actually. After that, I want to pass that list of object into my and the JSP program. I want to pass it actually. So for that purpose, we are using a class called as your model map class. Okay, we are using a class called as your model map class, and now we are storing the list of object into an attribute called as
Model map.
an attribute called as.
Add attribute.
What is the name of that?
Student list.
Student list. We are adding into an attribute called as your student list actually. Guys, are you following or not? If you're not able to understand, at least reply yes or no. You're able to understand yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we redirected to view student. In view student, we are returning all the student information from the database, and I'm going to store into an object called list object. Now I want to transfer the information from the controller program to your JSP program. So for that purpose, you'll be using what class you'll be using?
Model map.
Model map class. And in that model map class, we are setting an attribute called as what attribute we are setting?
Student list.
Student list. And we are going to store the list of object into an attribute called as your student list actually. And finally, we are returning your student info. Now it will go to the student info.jsp page, and inside the student info.jsp page, it is going to display the student one by one. It will be displaying actually. So how I can able to display one by one now with the help of your JSTL tag actually. But my Tomcat doesn't understand your JSTL. So in order to use JSTL in your program, we have to use what we have to configure.
Tagleaf.
Yeah, Tagleaf directive element. We have to configure. We have to configure your Tagleaf directive element, and all your JSTL tag it is going to start with the prefix called as.
C.
So now everyone go to the body tag. Everyone go to your body tag. Remove that line. Student inserted successfully. Remove it. Remove that line. So completely. H2 tag. Completely remove it. I don't want anything inside the body tag. Now go to the chat window. Copy the code and paste inside the body tag. Go to the chat window. Copy the code and paste inside the body tag and then format it. Go to the chat window. Copy the code and paste inside the body tag and format it. Go to the chat window and copy the code from the chat window and paste inside the body tag and format it.
Yes, sir.
Format it. Go top. Okay, inside the body tag, first what we created, so we created a h1 tag, and in the h1 tag we created student list. Next we created one table. In the table we are creating a hyperlink called as your home page enroll.
New student.
So if I so now right now I was in which page? I was in which page right now?
Student info.
Student info. Now from here itself, if I want to enroll now, there is no need to run the application once again. So I created a new link called as
Slash.
home page enroll.
New student.
If I click this particular link now, what is the action we are giving?
Registration
What we are giving?
Slash.
Slash. Yeah. So now go to the student controller. Go to your student controller. In student controller, if my request is slash, now where it will go? It will open which page it will be opening?
Enroll.
Now what I can able to do, once again I can able to enroll a new student. Once I enroll a new student, I will redirect it to which page?
C.
After enrolling, giving all the input, and if I click the submit button, I'll redirect it to which page?
View student fetch
Student info.
View student request here, but from the view student request, I'll go to which page?
Student info.
Student info.jsp page. I'll go to my student info.jsp page, and in the student info.jsp page, I can able to see the newly inserted
Data.
data. Newly inserted data. Now again, go to your student info.jsp page. Okay, now the table is done. So hyperlink is done. Next, what I have done, go up. Next, what I have done, once again, I created a table with border 2 with 70% self-padding 2. Now I created a table row I created, and in the table row, I displayed ID, first name, last name, sex, date of birth, email, section, country, subject, first attempt, and I created two more things, what is your edit and delete. So now this is one row. Okay, it will be creating the row, it will be creating actually. Next, I want to display the student information one by one. I want to display it. So which attribute contains all the student information? Which attribute contain all the student information?
Student list.
Student list. Okay, so we are passing as a student list, or we are passing now. So the student list contain all the student information it was containing. Now I want to print one by one. I want to print it. So I'm going to use a tag called as your C colon
For each.
for each tag. Okay, I'm going to use a tag called as your JSTL tag called as your C colon for each. I'm going to define a variable called as
student.
student. And items is equal to right now we have all the items in which attribute it was containing.
Student list.
So instead of list, what do you have to give?
Student list.
Student. So give it a student list over there. Dollar curly brace student list. Items is equal to dollar curly brace student list, because student list contains all the list of students it was containing. So now I'm going Surya type it. Items is equal to dollar curly brace student list. Surya, are you there or not?
Yes, sir.
Type it over there. Items is equal to, it was already there. See, in line number 35, items is equal to dollar list. Give it as dollar student list. Small s. What is this? We have already set an attribute called as what attribute we have set it?
Student.
Student list. So that's only we are printing over here. Then why you give SS capital letter?
Student list L.
Huh?
Line 35 also student list L.
L is small letter only. Check your student controller program. Check your student controller program. What is the attribute we have set it? It's small L only. It is small L only. Change it in your student info.jsp. It is small L. Because we have set an attribute called as your student list, and the student list only it is going to contain a list of object. Student object it is going to contain. Now I'm going to print one student object with the help of your JSTL tag called a C colon.
For each.
Okay, it was containing C colon for each. It will be containing actually. So I'm going to get one student from the student list, and I'm going to store into a variable called as
Student.
student variable. Now I'm going to print that particular information. Student.id, student.first name, student.last name, student.sex, student.date of birth, student.email, student.section, student.country, student. I think wrong again. So it is student.subject and then student.first attempt. Change it. Last two. Student.subject and then student.first attempt. After country, it should be student.subject and then student.first attempt. After country, it is student.subject and student.first attempt. Okay, so now again the loop will be rotating actually. Now I'll be taking the second student object and I'm going to store into a variable called.
Edits.
I'm going to take my second student object and I'm going to store inside which variable?
Student.
Student. Now I'll be printing all the second student information. Now I'll take my third student object and I'll store into a variable called
Student.
student. So now I'll be printing my third student information. Like that, I'm going to print all the student information one by one in the form of
Like table.
table. Okay, one by one in the form of table we are going to print it. Now everyone terminate your application, start your application. Everyone terminate your application, start your application, and give localhost colon 8000 slash, and give localhost colon 8000 slash.
Yes, sir.
Now give all the input and click the register button. Give all the input and click register button. Use the input and click register button. Check whether it is displaying in the form of a tabular column. Is it displaying in the form of tabular column, guys? As you can see in the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone.
Yes, sir. Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So in the top line, you can see a hyperlink called as homepage, enroll new student. Click it. It will go to the previous page. Now you can once again enroll it. Give some all the information and click the register button and check that data is also inserting. Guys, everyone reply. Is it working or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyone getting error?
No, sir. No, sir.
Is it working?
Yes, sir.
I hope for everyone it is working now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now open your studentinfo.jsp page. Open your studentinfo.jsp page. Okay, so now we have printed all the ID, first name, last name, everything we printed. And at the end, you can able to see two hyperlink we created. What are the two hyperlink we created?
Student ID. Student
Edit
ID.
plus your delete. Okay, sorry. Edit is plus your
Delete.
delete. So I can edit a particular student information. I can able to edit it as well as I can able to delete a
Particular student.
student. Okay, I can delete a student. So edit we'll discuss in the tomorrow session. Now we'll discuss about the delete part. So in the delete part, we created a hyperlink, and whenever you click the delete hyperlink, now what is the action we are giving? Request. What is the request we are giving?
Delete.
Delete student.
Delete student. Along with the delete student, we are going to pass its related
ID.
ID, student ID. Okay. Now go to the browser. Go to the browser 1 minute. So you can able to see we have inserted 4 students. So you can see 4 edit button and 4
Delete button.
delete button. So if I try to click if I try to click any one of the delete button, that related student ID only should be what?
Delete.
Deleted. Not all the student ID. Which delete button you are delete link you are clicking, only that particular student ID should be deleted actually, not all of them actually. So for that purpose only, we are going to give a request called delete student. Along with the delete student, we are going to pass its
ID.
ID also. Yeah. Now this, can you say what is the request we want to create now?
Delete.
So delete. Okay, we have to create a request for the slash delete student, and along with the delete student, we are going to pass its
ID.
Okay, we are going to pass its ID. We are going to pass it actually. Okay. So now go to your controller program. Go to your controller program. You go to the chat window and copy the code and paste it after your get student method. Go to your chat window, copy and paste the code after your get student method. Format it, Surya. Whenever you write any code, please format it. And import your path variable annotation also. Import your path variable annotation. Okay. So now we are giving so whenever I'm going to give a request called slash delete student, and along with the delete student, we are going to pass what?
Student ID.
Student ID. So it might be whenever we study Spring Boot, we have studied about an annotation called as path variable annotation. No, remember? Yes. So along with the URL, if I try to pass some value now, I can able to get that value with the help of what annotation?
Path
Variable
variable.
annotation. So at the rate path variable, so STUID, that is going to store in a variable called as what variable?
Path variable.
No, that is your path variable. STUID is your path variable. I'm going to get that value and I'm going to store into what variable I'm going to store it?
SID.
Yes, ID. Okay, yes. Now I'm going to call repo dot
Delete by ID.
delete by ID of SID. So now I'm going to call repo dot delete by ID of SID. And after deleting, I'm going to redirect it to which one?
View student.
View student. Now again, what my view student it will be doing? It will be finding all the data that is currently present in the database. Because after deleting, we should not see the data. Okay, that particular data should not be there actually. So we are redirecting to view student. View student will fetch and the data from the database, and again I'm going to display in the form of
JSP.
JSP. How I'm going to display it in the form of
Table.
table. Okay. Now terminate your application. Restart it once again. Terminate your application and start it once again. And give localhost 8000 slash. Once it is started, now give localhost 8000 slash. So give some data and click the register button. Give some data and click the register button. Now, for any one of the ID, click the delete button and check whether the data is deleted. Click the delete button and check for anything. The data is deleted.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Clear, guys, how to insert it, fetch the data, and delete the data?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the tomorrow morning, we'll start with editing the data. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Well, continuing the tomorrow morning, please go through how it was working and please be clear, because from tomorrow afternoon onwards, you're going to do with your case study in your Spring Boot and Spring Data JPA.